Testing, 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 testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, y'all let me know what I sound like. All right. Hey, what's good, y'all? Want to make sure that the audio is working right. Right. Listen, man, this is my 100th episode, the Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth. My 100th episode live. Okay. I done made numerous videos, numerous videos over the years, but live is different. Right. Excuse me. Live is different. A lot of things can go wrong when you go live. It's a lot of stuff that you got to pay attention to. And if you're just one person trying to go live and you don't want anything to mess up, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff you got to pay attention to. And sometimes you find out during the live, like, oh, okay, damn, the audio is not working. But y'all let me know if the audio is working. I'm going real late. I know I'm going real late. I wasn't feeling good earlier today. But I said, you know what? On what day did I go live? I think it was Wednesday. The last time I went live, I said I'll be live Sunday. So I'm just trying to, hold to my word. This was going to be the 100th episode. I had a lot of stuff planned that I wanted to go into. I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to, you know, keep it, short as far as the stories that I'm gonna cover and straight to the point, right? Let me see. Let me check it. I ain't getting no feedback. Let me just see if what it sounded like. See what it sounded like. All right. Let's see if yes, perfect. It's perfect. Sounds good. Sounds good, man. Make sure you share this live. Shout out to Kwadash, uh sister with her new name, Kanawa. Right. Shout out to y'all for tapping in. Uh so I'm gonna get straight to it. Now, I'm gonna talk about Teacher Bay again, and something that's surprising to me, and something that's is I'm proud of when it comes to that whole situation. What else I thought? Male influence in a young black man's life, right? Black boys' lives, male influence, black feminism, and then I'm going to end with the racism trick bag. How people try to, trick you up by asking you certain questions about racism and speaking on racism. So, excuse me, I want to talk about, I think I'm going to go into what I want to do. Let me see. Um, so I think I'll talk about feminism right now. I'll talk about black feminism. Now, this is not something I haven't talked about before. Black feminism, it's, in my opinion, it's a cancer, right? It's a cancer to the black community. The question you got to ask yourself is black feminism, is it something that will fix a black family? That's the question you got to ask. Will it help the black community? That's the question you got to ask. What are the benefits? What are the benefits to black feminism? What are the benefits? Right? I mean, man, I know it's late. It's 9:26 at my time. I'm West Coast, so it's 12 East Coast. But I have to get it in. But what are the benefits to black feminism? Now, what I've been seeing a lot is it's this wave on social media with black women saying that they stepping back from black men. They don't need a black man. They're delineating from black men. There is no point in getting married. There's no point in having a family. And I'm like, this is supposed to help the black community. Like, the whole idea of the feminism came from white women, and our sisters started to follow that and follow that, that movement. And now that movement in the Black community is turned into something really, really negative. Like, I understand when I talk about Black men, you have Black men that say, I'm not getting married. I'm not doing this. I'm just going to be a bachelor for life. But in the same vein that I'm talking about Black women, how would that help the Black community? So in other words, what a Black man is saying, if he's not going to be with any Black woman, like he's not going to get married, he's not going to commit to any woman, you're just going to be making single mothers, or are you just going to be making more 304s? If the answer is to any of those, then how is that helping the Black community? You feel me? Now I would say I have never heard Black men say, I don't need a Black woman. I mean, of course, they'll need them for, sexual preference purposes, but never heard a Black man say, I don't need a Black woman, like how Black women are saying they don't need Black men at all. Right? And you got to think, if a Black man was saying that, if Black men are saying that, I'm wondering, like, okay, what do you need? Maybe you're not, maybe you sure you're not leaning on the other side? You sure you're not alternative? If you actively saying out loud you don't want a Black woman, you don't need her. It goes both ways, but talking about Black women, in this feminism thing, like, let me see what sister said. It sounds like they are running from accountability because they are usurping the authority from the Black man. Crabs in a bucket. The smart women won't follow that crowd. And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. That, you get this following mentality, and you get this mentality where people are short-sighted, and they're not looking at what is the outcome of this behavior or making these choices, right? Sister said they doing everything but listening to Black men. I agree. You know, and when you listening, like, we'll be transparent by saying not just listening to Black men, but also, um, you know, hoping that you're following a Black man that is making good choices. And number one, living righteous. Number one, that's number one. But now getting back to the sisters, it's like this. It's like, okay, you're saying you're not going to do you don't need a man, you don't need all of that. But how does that benefit the Black community? It doesn't. It doesn't benefit the Black community at all. So if we're going to think like that, we can look forward to 10, 20, another half a century of Black people, um, having broken homes, raising, dysfunctional children. We can look forward to that because the only hope that we have is for us to lean on one another as Black men and Black women. That is the only hope. So feminism and Black feminism is a cancer to the Black community. There's nothing good that I see that is coming out of that will actually make women and men come together and produce healthy families, communities, an existence. Now, I'm not against I'm not against women coming together and helping one another or supporting one another. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing wrong with that. Like, whether it be a group on women who are new mothers or a group of women, that struggle with cooking, and they all come together and teach and, uplift one another. I have no issue with that. That, to me, that's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about the hatred of men. I'm talking about the mindset that I don't need a man. We don't need these men. The hell with these men. When, history has shown that we both need one another. You know what I mean? So that mindset that I see now on social media with women just so angry, and one of the things that you also have to understand is that when it comes to people talking these talking points, a lot of our people just want to survive in the dysfunction. They don't want to fix the problem. So they're talking about what black men are doing to them, and black men are talking what black women are doing to them and how they act and how they behave. But nobody is actually coming with a solution. And it seems like everybody just want to be on a soapbox and talk about the issue and stay away from the solutions of the issue, but talk about it. Just talk about it. I'm stepping back. I don't want to be with this man. I don't want, black man this, black man that. I can be by myself. I'm happy alone with a cat. They're talking about it. They're talking about it, but deep down inside, what you have to understand about a lot of these people online that are expressing, a their how they feel about the both genders in a negative way, they really don't want to talk about anything that is uplifting and fixing the community, right? They really don't want to do that. They really just want to stay in that delusion, in that dysfunction. And some people can just operate that way in that negativity. They can operate where all they're talking about is what black women do to them. All they're talking about is what black men do to them. And that's an example with a lot of sisters you see today talking very negative and I want to say evil towards uh even being with a man or even getting married or even having children, which is insane, you know. But we'll see. We'll see 10, 20, 30 years from now. What is the result of that type of mindset and the mentality of Black feminism? Now, it wasn't even made for Black women, but our women took it wholesale, ate it up, and now is another one of those degenerate philosophies in the Black community that can't help anyone. All right. So I'm going to leave that right there. Now, what else I want to talk about? Teacher Bay. Teacher Bay. I talked about Teacher Bay the other day about, this teacher that's went viral for how she dressed. Many people are saying that a teacher shouldn't dress like that in a provocative way. And you got students in this classroom looking at you, young male students. And myself, I can go back to when I was a child. I could say when I was in school, um, I didn't have no teacher bays, but I had black women teachers at certain points in time, but I never looked at them like that because they all dressed in a way that was very classy, and it wasn't revealing. Revealing. It wasn't the way that you might see someone in a neighborhood dress, a woman half naked and all of that. You would never go to school and see a woman dressed like that the same way. A teacher dressed like that. So this whole controversy with Teacher Bay, not only did it spark black people talking and giving their input, which I'm gonna talk about, but what you see now is you have a lot of teachers, black women, that also dress provocatively and posting themselves on social media because of the attention Teacher Bay has gotten. Teacher Bay has gotten a lot of attention. So, a lot of attention to your channel. I think some of her most of her videos are over 1 million views. So they seeing that Teacher Bay is getting all this attention. Now you have other black teachers that are posting themselves, showing you how they dress. And a lot of it is provocative dressing, unprofessional, that you shouldn't dress that way around children, right? Somebody said, like, think about it like this: she's turning to the board, and she also has a BBL, right? That thing is hanging, and you think those children, particularly those young boys, is looking at her back? You think they're looking at her back? In the atmosphere that we live in right now, most kids have access to social media. Social media is very, very sexualized. I don't give a damn if you got all the child protections on the phone. Social media is still very sexualized. And society has lowered its standards as far as what, uh, you know, society. When I say society, I'm talking about Black people, but I'm also talking about just society has lowered its standards on what is unacceptable. So you see a lot of cleavage, you see a lot of stomach, you see a lot of tail hanging out in outfits. And society says, oh, it's cute, it's good looking, it's nice, right? So what used to be considered unappropriate, the bar has lowered, like in general. So you can kind of blame that on, the situation with Teacher Bay. Like you you have to also take into account the society we live in, which have half naked outfits that women wear all the time and no one sees a problem with it. Eventually it would creep into the most sacred places and the places that are supposed to be the most professional. Eventually it would creep into it, right? And that's why on an individual level, you got to run your ship, how you run your ship, and not be influenced by what society says is permissible and is okay. Let me read the sister's comment. Sister says the outfit that went viral, at first I thought it wasn't that bad, but it was too tight for school. But then I saw more outfits that she's worn, and the way she dresses on average is out of line. That's a shame that women are stooping so low to get attention from children. Disgusting. Many people had that same sentiment. Many people were saying, like, it's children. Why do you want to be the center of attention in a classroom with children? And so I come from a different era. I come from an era where it wasn't like that. But now we live in this time where it's like that. And a lot of people are saying, like, what about, the oversight? What about the school district? What about, the people that run the school? Why are they not saying anything? And I came up with this in my mind when it comes to Teacher Bay, because Teacher Bay right now is not the first. There's been plenty of stories throughout, the last couple of years with teachers that dress in a way that is provocative. And let me just add in that we know that Black women can't help that they have curves. That's a given. Black women can't help that they have a shape. They have curves. And a lot of people are leaning on that to say, why are people speaking out against it when she can't help that she has curves? Well, this Teacher Bay, she got a BBL, right? I understand that. I totally understand that. But you do have other teachers that have curves that are showing you how you should dress. There's ways to not accentuate the curves by wearing tight clothing. You can wear a cardigan, you can wear different clothing that is not so form fitting and like on the level of going out to, some club and dinner or something like that. So I understand that, our sisters got curves, right? The teachers that I had when I was younger, they had curves, but I would never know because they dress in such a classy way. You know what I mean? Um, and so one of the things I thought about, like I was saying, is that um people are wondering why no one is stepping in over her and she's not being corrected by the school. And what you have to understand is with all of these stories, we know historically nobody really cares about the education in schools that are predominantly Black schools. Now we know with Teacher Bay, if she was doing this in a neighborhood where it's predominantly white and white students, they would have got her up out of there. I'm not saying that she deserves, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying she deserves to lose her job or nothing like that. But they would have been like, oh no, this is not going in my school. White folks, they would have did that. And y'all know that's the truth. They would have been like, oh hell no. Either you do something or we're pulling our children out of this school. Now, in the case of an all Black school where Teacher Bay is at, nobody cares. They're like, oh, just she can do what she want to do. Social media. Now the kids have a dress code. why the teachers don't have a dress code, right? Why the students got a dress code, why the teachers don't got a dress code? But I talked about Teacher Bay the other day. What I really want to say is that it's so refreshing to see that Black people was not going for that on social media. A lot of Black women were upset and speaking out against Teacher Bay and teachers like Teacher Bay. Like, why would you even name yourself Teacher Bay anyway? That's a whole nother story. But it was surprising to see that our people. Not surprising. It was refreshing because I know we got it in us, and it's just a good look to see that we know what's right from wrong, and we can point it out still with all the madness going on in the world, with all the things that don't get talked about or should be pointed out that should be corrected in the Black community. It's good to see that okay, we understand what modesty is. We understand what should be permissible around students and little kids. We get it. You know what I mean? And that was a beautiful thing to see. That was a beautiful thing to see that our people get it. You know what I mean? We get it. We still get it. We know right from wrong. We have morals. We have standards, right? So I think I said everything about what I wanted to say about Teacher Bay. Now let me get to this video with the young man. From my understanding, this I don't know the sport. I'm assuming that it is football, but this young man wanted to leave because somebody told him something he didn't want to hear. So he was going to leave. All right. He was going to leave practice. Let me get this. Will be it. Hmm. Let's Here we go. Okay.
Fucking I'm gone because somebody said something to me. Negro, let me tell you something. For the rest of your life, somebody gonna pull a string.
Y'all can't.
And
Y'all
every
gotta
time
stop
you
putting
quit,
y'all helmets
You
down.
quit on your mama, you quit on yourself, you quit on God, you quit on your grandma, and everybody else that's around you. You can do more good by being out here than what you do out there. And I'm telling you now, from the bottom of my heart, if you leave this damn field, son, within 3 years, I'm gonna have to come see you. Either in the grave or in fucking jail. And that's real talk. In less than 3 years. And that don't even make you 20 years old. Because that's where you're headed. Because you don't want no fucking discipline. It takes discipline to live this life. I'm 56 years old. And I'm not gonna tell you that ain't do nothing dumb. But the greatest thing I ever did was took my ass to school and got my ass in the motherfucking army. The greatest thing I ever did. I'm telling you now, son, if you walk out from this field in 3 years, I'm gonna see you somewhere else. And I don't wanna do that. I told you that before. Now I'm telling you again, it's your choice. Or you can stick this shit out and be a man about what you do, or you can be a fucking coward and put this shit on and leave. This shit ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. And I understand you ain't never been a part of a team. But nigga, I'm rooting for you. Look at me, man. I'm rooting for you. Nigga, I pray for you every night. Out of all these kids, I pray for you. Because I don't want to see you out there, boy. You got so much in you. So much. You don't even recognize it. Can't lose, you can. I can't. I fight for you all the time. When you wasn't here, I prayed for you, dude. And I mean that from the bottom of my motherfucking heart. If you ain't never thought a man love you, nigga, I love you. And I ain't just talking about for this goddamn football team either. That's the last thing I think about. Nigga, I'm gonna follow you all the way through high school. I'm gonna make sure you get the way you get. But you can't quit on me, nigga. You can't quit on me. You can't quit. Put that shit on. I don't care what you gotta do today. You get through this day for me.
Man, uh, this is what young boys need in their life. This young boy, teenager, he's getting ready to leave practice because somebody told him something that he didn't like. And a lot of times that's been the problem, the root of the problem with a lot of men, a lot of grown men today. Uh, Somebody told them something and they didn't like. They was in a situation that they didn't like. They had to do something that they didn't like. And because they had no structure or no discipline or no man in their life to lay down some structure and some discipline, they cracked under the pressure and they gave up under the pressure and they left under the pressure and they went to do and make choices that hurt them even more. Like what he's saying is like in 3 years, I'm gonna have to come see you. Meaning I'm gonna either have to come see you locked up somewhere or in the grave. Like, don't be a coward. Don't give up because somebody said something to you that you don't like. And as he's telling this brother this young man, it seems like he's not listening. Like how how when a teenager has an attitude, they not listening. But he was listening to everything he's saying. And as he's telling him, he's starting to take off, his clothes so that he can put back on, his practice gear. Whereas that's all young black males need. We need men that actually care and men that are going to get up in your face and tell you what time it is. I know a lot of black brothers could have benefited from that. I could have benefited from that and making decisions when I was young that I shouldn't have made or not sticking with something that I should have stuck with. And all I would have needed was someone like this man getting up in my face, excuse me, getting up in my face and saying, no, not, nigga, you're going to stay with that. Keep going to that job. Keep going to school. Enroll in college. Keep doing it. Keep moving. Keep going. Don't start hanging with the wrong crowd. That's all a young black male needs is a mentor or a positive black male role model that actually cares just a little bit to tell him this is what you're not going to do. You're not going to be no coward. You're not going to make any excuses. A lot of our people, a lot of black men are effeminate. They're effeminate for this same reason. Without a male influence and a male role model that really gets in their face and really challenges them to face their fears and to face their anger and fight back their emotions, suck it up, and keep pushing. A lot of young black youth need that, and a lot of young black youth they be listening. They be listening. They know who care about them and who don't give a damn about them. So it's easy for a lot of young black males to develop this, F it attitude, where it's like a me against the world attitude, and don't nobody give a damn about me. So I'm gonna do what I want to do, and can't nobody tell me nothing. But it's a difference when you realize, okay, I got somebody rooting for me. I got somebody that cares for me. And a lot of times people think like this. You think like I said it earlier. You telling them what they need to do, what they gonna do. A lot of young boys like that. They like that. They like a strong, militant, hardcore brother to tell them something, to get up in their face like he did. You thinking like, oh, you see how his face looked like he got an attitude. No, that he knows that that's real love. That's real love. You know what I mean? And a lot of our brothers can benefit from that, you know. So I got two more videos I'm gonna go into. Get this next video.
You say that it is racism that is the cause of the present day challenges. When under segregation, we achieved. And when we were denied access to colleges, we built our own. And in fact, our small business formation rate was higher than whites in the 20s, and that really determines any group's participation in the economy. It is not what government does for you or what white people do. In fact, I think those who continue to push this race agenda are Eurocentric. They assume that the destiny of blacks is determined by what white people do. That has never been the case.
That's so deep. That's deep. And I think a lot of people would hear this and they would get upset at what he is saying. Listen, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I wholeheartedly agree with what he is saying. We live a life where we have become like subconsciously or psychologically like children to white folks. Black people are like children to white folks. How we ask for reparations, how we ask for to be treated fairly, how we say, you know, things are racist. And I'm gonna talk about racism in the next video segment. How we say, you know, we say these things, but we really shouldn't care. It really shouldn't bother us. You know why? Because like what he brought out at a time where we were you know, up under covert, I'm sorry, not covert, but extreme racism during that period of time, black people were formulating businesses at a higher rate than white folks. Black people were more likely to be in two-parent households at a higher rate than white folks during the time when it was extreme racism. During the time, we're talking about the 20s to the 40s. Black people were really doing good, building towns and stuff like that. Of course, they came and burned them down, of course, because they were envious. But it just shows you that we didn't need them in order to succeed, right? I don't know if somebody, maybe I'm making sense to someone because it's made perfect sense to me. We didn't need white folks. We didn't need reparations. We didn't need white folks to treat us equally. None of that because we were separated. We were segregated. We're just doing our own thing. We're doing our own thing, living, creating families, building towns, trying to do the best we could do, but actually excelling. Many people don't know this, but black people were doing better, far better before the civil rights movement. After the civil rights movement, it's been a drop in everything in the black family, black community. Excuse me. Everything has went to hell in the black community. You would think that we would be doing better at a time where you have better technology, easier access to everything. You would think we would be doing better, right? But we're not. We're doing worse than before the 60s. We're doing worse, y'all. So getting back to his point, what he was making, like we can't depend on government and depend on white folks to do anything for us. We have to have the mindset of not, you know what, y'all need to stop being racist. We need to have the mindset that, listen, I know y'all gonna be racist because that's all you've ever been. But that don't bother me. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna come together with my people. I'm gonna unify with my people, and we gonna keep pushing. I can't change something that God made crooked. Like, I can't change the fact that you feel the way you feel about me, and that's you. Fine, stay over there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure not going to beg you to feel like I'm equal to you. Hell, I'm equal to myself. I'm equal with my other brothers and sisters. I don't need to be equal with you. I don't need to beg you for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to beg you for reparations because I know you would never give it anyway. I don't like, why am I asking you for something that you should have done years ago if it was in your own will and heart to do? I'm going to miss me with all that. This is the elder right here speaking, and he's making some solid sense. Why are we asking for all of these things? We ain't never needed nobody to do what we was doing, because we was doing it back then where it was Jim Crow. They was hanging niggas from trees. They was burning down towns, and we were doing better than we are doing today. And now we have just become like these uh, helpless children that are looking to a group of people that have never been fair, that have never been righteous, that have always been, always been conniving, and we're looking for them for an equal or equality, and to be treated fairly, and to get things that if we were in a righteous society, we would already have. Nah, we're just going to let's just do what our ancestors were doing before all of this happened and integration happened. Let's look at what our ancestors was doing. Let's look at let's follow that template, because something they was doing was right. They was doing something right because them households was looking good. You had two-parent households. And then after the 60s civil rights movement, all of a sudden everybody is broken up. All of a sudden, black men don't take care of their kids. Black women, 70% single households. Something went wrong, right? But one thing that we know is that we don't have to ask anybody. We just got to come together as a group of people again. And somewhere down the line, we went from thinking in a community way to thinking as individuals. Black people are individualites today. It's all about me, what I got, what I'm doing. I'm successful. Why can't you do it? I'm successful. I did this, I did that. And we no longer care about us as a group, right? Yes, yes. So, um, yeah, that's basically it, man. You can learn a lot from your elders. You can learn a lot from older people who have lived during Jim Crow, extreme racism, and they're still alive today. Why don't you go ask somebody that you know? Go ask your grandfather. Your grandfather's still alive. Your grandmother's still alive. Go ask them about how was life like when they were growing up. You got some of y'all got a treasure, a historical treasure in your home, or your grandparents are still alive and they in their 80s, they in their 90s, some of them in their hundreds, and they still can talk and articulate themselves. Go ask them about what was it like when they was growing up. Go do yourself a favor. You know what I mean? That's a treasure of knowledge. Um, so I'm gonna get this last video, and I'm gonna give you some tools on how to deal with the Charlie Kirks of the world. What's Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk is Turning Point USA. Hella stereo. He uses strong racial stereotypes in his speakings, right? Officer Tatum. This video of this brother, and I'm gonna give you some tools on how to look at a question that somebody might pose to you if you ever bring up the fact that racism still exists. All right. Brother Chris Washington said it's sad a lot of black women are glorifying Sexy Red and Cardi B and gay men. That's very heavy what you said. Now when it comes to the Sexy Reds and the Cardi B's, I put them in the same category as like the male rappers that have a message that is it is not beneficial to the Black community. Um, the thing about how women support, LGBTQ, that is so true. That is so, like, my whole life I've seen that, where you have somebody like that in the community, and it is women that actually support them and make them their best friends for life and all of that stuff. And so that is a problem with our people when it comes to the sexy reds and them. Like, yes, that is a it's an ugly sight. It's a stain on women. And you see a lot of women that support it, that they might even be career women, or what you would call women that they went to school, they got degrees and all of that. It's just a spirit of whoredom. It's a spirit of 304ism in America. And it's something that is applauded. It's applauded in the Black community, and we don't see how degenerate it actually is and how it hurts our young daughters. I say this all the time. No little girl grows up and thought like, I want to grow up and be um, sexy red, or a stripper, or on a pole or something like that. And I believe Sexy Red, her first song was something like "My Booty Hole is Brown," which is, come on, man. Like, how low can you go? Like, and some people are saying Sexy Red is a plant. Like, they just put her in there, the music industry, the people that run the music industry, to keep us on a low vibration. Like, that stuff does keep us on a low vibration, as well as the music talking about drill killing somebody. It keeps us on a low level. And I was just like, imagine if we had music that was about not only our experiences as Black people, but uplifting music, empowering. You know what I'm saying? Empowering music that you can bump your head, you can vibe to, but at the same time, it is giving you a good message, or it might even be good storytelling, right? It might have a story where it's talking about some negativity, but then it transitions into a good ending or learning from that lesson. Like, we don't have music like that, but music is very powerful. Music can, to a certain extent, influences a lot of people. Music can put you in a mood. You know what I'm saying? Music can put you in a mood. A lot of people listen to music to work out. They listen to music to get hype. Some people, not me, listen to music when they sad. Certain kind of music to make them feel like, you know they're right for feeling the way they feel. I mean, that's why I stay away from that sad music. You know what I mean? uh I have in my school, ISUPK, I have a general. He was talking about it, like, all this music, especially with these brothers now, a lot of it be sad music. And they be like, they say something like, my life is going bad. You took me away. You ain't in my life anymore. Like, you be like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, it's depressing. Like, why is your music so depressing? Like, come on. Like, so music has a power to it. It has a strength to it for people to uh get on call with the energy that is being pushed out in that music. So when like a Sexy Red or a Cardi B, look, I mean, I think I heard one of Cardi B's songs. It sounded like it had some decent lyricism, but all of the sexual images and the twerking and your ass is out. That is not a good image for us. We done been destroyed enough as a people. We don't need no more of that. Like, we need to throw that in the garbage. We don't need no more of that. You know what I'm saying? So as a Black person, you got to protect your ears and protect your eyes. So what goes in your ears and what goes into your eyes, and a lot of stuff, you just cannot give it energy. You just got to be like, you know what? Turn it off, change the channel, keep scrolling. Like, I'm not on that type of time. I don't want my children to be on that type of time. Um, and I'm pretty sure, like, when it comes to like the Sexy Reds and Cardi B's and stuff like that, those sisters definitely have been molested when they were children. I'm pretty sure any sister like that, any sister that's highly sexualized and dresses like that, or any brother, they definitely have had a traumatic not necessarily just molestation, but they have had a traumatic past. They've had some, they done grew up, around some dysfunction. I can guarantee that. That's guaranteed when it comes to Black people. And I'll end with this. It was back in the day, it was like a few years ago, they had a show called Noisy. It was by what was it by? Was it Vi? It wasn't Vi. Vice. Vice. It's like a publication. They do documentaries, but Vice had a one that was called Noisy, and it was like a little sub documentaries, and they were in Miami where they were going to meet up with Rick Ross and learn, show you about Miami in the night scene. And they was at the clubs where it's strippers at the clubs, and I'll never forget this. You had two Black promoters, right, or managers that worked in the club, and they was talking about the girls that come into the club to work at the club to strip, and they were laughing at it. Mind you, they were laughing at this. It was like, it's a revolving door. Girls come. It's always girls coming to want to dance. And it said one of them said, they wouldn't come in there. They wouldn't come inside. They wouldn't come into the doors if they wasn't messed up in the head. Something like that. They wouldn't come into the doors if they wasn't messed up in the head. And I was just like, damn, well, there it is. You heard it right from somebody that is in those places. That these sisters are coming into these doors broken. He said they laughed at it. He said they wouldn't come in the door if they wasn't messed up in the head. They coming into the door broken. And I was like, that's so sad that we make fun of our sisters being broken. You know what I mean? And then people like them, they prey on their own people. They're preying on the sisters. They're hoping that there's some sister that's grew up in a broken home, was molested or something. That's the type of sister that was going to roll through that door looking for a job to get on the stripper pole. And it hit me a certain kind of way because I'm like, damn, that's so evil. That's so evil. Like, to look at your people like that, but we do it to each other every day. A drug dealer does it to his people every day. He's looking at his people like prey. Let me tell you something. This is a funny story. Um, I used to smoke weed, right? Like 12 years ago. I used to smoke weed heavily, and I used to buy weed from this brother that was living in my apartments. This was the last person I ever got weed from, but I used to go to him every day. And when I started to break away from smoking weed, um, I I started to weed myself off, meaning I was smoking like 5 blunts a day. Then I cut it down to 2, then I cut it down to 1, then I'm not getting no more weed. This brother, he lived somewhere like way on the other side of the complex I lived in. It was a really big complex, right? He started hanging out in front of my apartment. There's like this little stoop you could hang out. He started hanging out and I was seeing him, we like, hey man, what's up, man? I ain't seen you. You ain't came through, no, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn. I laughed in the inside because I was like, damn, now he looks like the dope fiend. Now he looks like the weed head. He's hunting me down for the money. I must have been a good customer. But the point I wanted to bring out is that even drug dealers, they prey on their own people. And you probably don't look at it like that. Drug dealer doesn't look at it like that. He's looking at it like, I'm getting money. You know what I'm saying? I can handle business. I can take care of my family, but he's destroying somebody else's family while he's doing that. He's taking the food off of someone else's kid's plate while he's doing that, because a person that's buying drugs, they're gonna spend their money up, and they're gonna be in a position where they gotta ask somebody for money, and they can't actually put the necessary things they need to put in the household because of their addiction. But a drug dealer, just like those people that I'm talking about worked at the stripper pole, they all preying on their people, and we got to start to point that type of stuff out and be like, that's evil. Like, we want to weed these kind of Black people up out of the Black community, even if it's family members and friends. You know what I mean? We want to get the evil from away from us so that we can actually heal, man. We can't heal as a people if we're supporting negative imagery, negative music, negative, life choices. If we're supporting it, we can't heal as a people, you know? We can't heal. We cannot heal as a people, man. We ain't been able to heal in this place because after slavery, let's just fast forward the history of Black people. After slavery, Black people now they get out. Some Black people get promised the 40 acres and a mule, right? Some of the coastline of the East Coast, South Carolina and stuff, right? They get the land and then it's taken back. Black people in New York, they built a town called Weeksville. You got Seneca Village. You got, all over America, you have Black people that have started building towns. I know Weeksville was built within like 10 years, 11 years out of slavery, right? Somebody can correct me, but we were building stuff like 10, 15 years out of slavery. You got to think, we had skills. We had a lot of skills. We were carpenters, we were architects, we was all that. We get out, and then now you have a period of us doing good, like in the 20s. Then you see all of these riots, these massacres where whites are envious and just making up stuff in order to destroy what we have and burn down what we have or steal what we have. Then you fast forward to from the 20s through the 40s, Black people are still pushing forward, start to be the number one in opening businesses and two-parent households. Then we get right there to the civil rights movement around the 60s and stuff, and then with integration and stuff. Oh, I forgot about Jim Crow. We was going through Jim Crow too, going up into the 60s. Jim Crow, white faucet, black faucet, Black men being lynched, Black women being lynched by lynch mobs for a lot of times crimes they didn't commit, right? Then you get to the civil rights movement and integration and coming together in sit-ins and stuff like that. And then from that point on, it's like it's downhill because after the civil rights movement, you go into the 70s, you got the women's liberation movement, you got the gay movement, you got what else? The feminism movement. You got all these movements at the same time. They're pumping. United States government is putting drugs in the Black community. Welfare, the requirements of welfare. You can't have a man in the home, right? Now you're in the 80s, 90s, crack epidemic. A lot of those children, 90s, 2000s, is children from the crack epidemic. Just fast forward to 2025, we have not got to heal, man, as a group of people. We have not got to heal. We haven't got to heal as a group of people. And so it's a disservice when we start to allow things that are degenerate and or negative imagery. It's foolish for us to say, you know what, to each his own, it don't bother me. It's foolish to say, there's nothing wrong with it. That's foolish. Like, what are we looking at in the next 20 years? What does the Black community look like in the next 20 years with the way it's going? With the things that we are accepting in the Black community? What does it look like? I don't think it's gonna be a Black community if we don't get it together. It won't be a Black community. We won't be here. We'll be extinct. Let me tell you something. We are a powerful, powerful people. Very powerful. And like I said before, we have to ask another people. We don't have to, but we ask another people for the things that we want. When I say that, I'm talking about the United States government, you know, white folks. But we can do these things if we have the knowledge that we are strong together in unity. We can have all of those things. Our ancestors had them back then in the 20s. They were doing better than everybody. So it's so like the elder has said, racism is not an excuse for us to succeed. But the thing is that in order to have that, you're going to have to let go of a lot of degeneracy and dysfunction. You're going to have to say, you know what? We got to be a drugless people. Can't nobody be on drugs or selling drugs. You're going to have to say, we're going to be a people that marry off our daughters and our sons. So we're going to eliminate the possibility of single parent homes. We're going to eliminate the possibility of an absent father by marrying our sons off, by being wise on who we give our sons to, who we give our daughters to. No, let me meet your son. Let me meet your daughter. Let me meet their father. Let's come together. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if they're compatible. Black people can police black people. Their favorite talking point is Chicago, Chirac, the crime and the black on black crime. Black on black crime could stop overnight with black men, with righteous black men. You know, a prime example, and I hate to use the example, but it happens in a lot of places. It's called community justice. It actually happened in the Bible. You got a hard-headed son. You got a son that's running around robbing people, taking stuff, and nobody can stop him. Guess what? The community will get him. And then they're going to pull him out and be judged. He's going to be judged by the community. But I was going to use this example in Haiti, the community took stuff into their own hands. And they got the drug dealers. And I'm not saying this is what we should do. I'm not saying that, but they got the drug dealers, killed them, set them on fire in front of everybody. Community justice. The people are tired. I bet you if you come outside in the morning and you see the neighborhood drug dealer done like that, I bet you crime would drop overnight because everybody knows everybody. It ain't no getting away. It ain't no ops on this side of town. Ain't none of that. Everybody knows everybody, and you will be found out before you could even get back to your safe house. But crime will drop. You don't need to go to another people to police you. We don't. We really don't. But we do. And then those interactions always go awry because it's like you're taking a white boy from the suburbs or from the country or somewhere, rural area, and you're putting him in the uniform to police black people he's never even been around. So everybody is a target. So he doesn't even know how to he doesn't know how he doesn't know the mannerisms of black people. How you say black people know black people. We know each other. He doesn't know that. So he looking at you in an indifferent way and he's treating you like you are the enemy. You can't have compassion on the people that are not you and then grow up around you. I'm not saying individually, but I'm just saying, think about it. You can't if you put me somewhere, you put a black man in a uniform to police people of Palestine. Like, come on, how sense does that make? He didn't grow up with them. He don't know how they are. None of that. All he knows is they the big bag boogeyman. So he's scared and he's trigger happy. It's the same thing. Oh yeah. The Let me get to this. The sister said they do child predators out there bad. Oh yes, I seen a picture. This was like in South America where they got a guy that had did something to a little girl, and the picture he is literally he's deceased, and he has a knife in every part of his body, literally, like a kitchen knife. Like all the people in the community got their kitchen knives and stuck them, and I was like crazy. But listen, that's how it's supposed to be. You get that evil from away from you. Okay, you want to do that? You're done. I'm not saying go out and do that, but I'm saying crime will disappear in the black community. Um, Yola said, "How do you approach a people who you have no experience with?" Right. How can you approach a people you have no experience with? But your experience is what you see on television. You know, a black man is always a kingpin or a criminal on television. Or your experience is what other white folks have told you about black people, which we know it ain't nothing positive. You know how, it only makes sense for black people to police black people, but you got to be up to the call. You have to be willing to do it. You know what I mean? You have to be willing to do it. If they was to say, let's just give us one state, give us two, give us a allotted land in America, and let us be self-sufficient like they did and like they wanted for the 40 acres and a mule, man, and in no time, black people would prosper. But you got to understand that the United States government looks at black people like an enemy. Anytime, you have people like black people that who are actually God's chosen people, they are looking at us, they have their eyes on us, and they have tabs on us and all of that. So the minute we look like we're prospering, or the minute that, because other countries would want to deal with black Americans, they would want to do some type of business, some type of trade. They would want to, something. Now, we granted we don't have any resources as a people. We don't have a military as a people. We don't have any resources, but our number one resource that we do have, and it might sound crazy, but it's our entertainment value. Like you can't say, we ain't entertainers as far as the sports, acting and stuff like that. That's a start. We could export that. We could have, black, the stars that we have go to other countries and perform, or just some type of deal where we could start building. But you think the United States government would allow that? Hell no. Hell no. They would look at us as a threat. Black people are looked at as a threat, even if you have a black organization that is just for black people. You're looked at as a threat. You're looked at as you're plotting, and that just comes from America's guilty conscience of the past. They have a very, very guilty conscience, and so they're always worried. It's like if you done so much dirt to people in the community, you that cat then robbed this one, robbed his mama, then shot at this one, and did this. You always worried about the big payback. You can't sleep at night. You tossing and turning, and you always wondering what do somebody got up their sleeve because of all of the evil you've done to the community. That's the same thing with America, the American government, and black people. They're always worried about what these people got up their sleeve. If you try to come together with other black people or have a black organization, they are looking at you sideways, and they're trying to infiltrate it or send somebody like some what you call it, some undercover in there to infiltrate and get in, like they've done all black organizations or attempted to. Anyway, I'm gonna finish up. Let me get this last video, y'all. See, this was not supposed to be a long live, but because y'all was interacting with me, shout out to both sisters. I think Yola is a sister. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but shout out to Yola and Princess Kanawa for interacting. Also, the brother Chris Washington. You know what I mean? Shout out to y'all for interacting, because y'all know we can have a discussion. I don't mind having a discussion. Let me get this last video. And anybody, you've never seen me this this late going live, but hell, maybe that's something I can start doing.
The day that was a part of slavery.
No, for sure.
Most of these motherfuckers that's claiming that they done been through something ain't never experienced no racism in their life.
But I guess it's the systemic part that we still.
What's systemic about it?
Systemic racism?
Tell me what's systemic about it. I don't see it.
Wait, did they change? What's the thing where you got to hire a certain amount of colored people, or whatever?
That's racist in itself.
Yeah, I know.
Affirmative action?
Affirmative action. Yeah,
that's racist.
There's some companies that's pulling that back. They're saying, "Hey,
yeah, they did away with it.
Yeah, they're
largely.
Like, yeah,
the Supreme Court did away with affirmative action.
Yeah,
shout out to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I'm like, let's get.
That's racist in itself. That means that you're not getting in on your merits. You getting in based off of the fact that they had to include you. I know so many people that got into college based off of the fact that they was a part of a diversity, equity, and inclusion program, and they flunked the fuck out.
Right, we got to put you in here.
They couldn't even handle it because they wasn't prepared to be able to compete on a larger scale.
So you don't believe in systemic racism?
Absolutely not. Listen, I don't believe in systemic racism in the United States of America. It's too many people getting too much money. And I ain't even talking about black people. Listen, think about it like this. If it was systemic racism based off of race, right? Then why are white people literally slightly above us when it comes to the amount of money that they make per household? Why are the majority of white people the ones that's on federal government programs? Why are they the ones that's the biggest welfare recipients? Where is it at? How come it's not benefiting them? Why they not working in their own best interest? Why are the ones?
You said, why is white people the number one on welfare if there's systematic racism? Because white people are the majority of the population. That's why they're number one in welfare. The whole idea of welfare was created for white people. People don't know that. It was created by what was the president at the time? What was his name? I can't remember his name. 1930, when they created, that welfare program. But it was created for white people, and white people are the majority of the population. That's why they're number one. That's why they get the most benefits. And he said it's not benefiting them. It's funny because when I see a homeless white person, I always think to myself, and I ask them for change. I say, well, damn, your white privilege didn't benefit you. It didn't work in the best interest of you. I always think that. But let me just keep playing this.
The ones that's making the most per household, Asian and Indian. Why they not holding them back? Why did we pass the Asian hate crime bill?
Now, I just want to, I'm gonna leave it at that. I want to talk about two things he said. This clip started off with him saying, Black people were never slaves. Like why Black people act like they were slaves? They were never slaves. And I hear this a lot from white folks. White folks say this all the time. Of course, Black people were not slaves. White people today were not slave owners. But we both descend from those people. Now, if you were, let's just say a man was, he was a computer programmer. And he said, hey, I make $200,000 a year. And I'm like, wow, bro, that's amazing. How did you do that? How did you get to this point? He'll say, well, when I was back in the past, when I was 17, I went to this technical school, and then I went to this school and got this certification, and I got this certification, which allowed me to now get this job. When we talk about Black people not being never being in actual slavery, or white people never actually owning a slave today, what we also have to talk about is the fact that when you look at black and white people, and you look at us as a group of people, one is doing far better than the other. That is predicated on the fact of our history. That is because of what happened in the past. Meaning today, of course, I know that white people never had slaves today, but they sit and rest in their white supremacy, which is a benefit of slavery. Black people tend to be in, living in areas that have systemic poverty levels. When it comes to education, not all the funding for education. When it comes to a lot of dysfunction you see in the black family, this has to do with the past. Now, on an individual level, yes, a black person can be successful. They can go to college, they can do whatever they want to do. But when we're talking about a group of people, we have to look at the past to say, how did this group of people get here? You understand? Um, Also, yes, Princess Roosevelt. Roosevelt, that was the president I was talking about. The sister say, isn't he from Ghana or something like that? He need touch. Yeah, I don't know if he's I don't know. I don't know the brother, right? Possibly. Another thing is about systemic racism. This is something that a lot of people ask this question when there is a debate about racism still existing, and they're talking to somebody, and I used a lot of y'all probably don't know who Charlie Kirk is, but I used him as an example. He's always, making these points. But when somebody asks you, what systemic racism have you personally experienced? That is a trick bag. You want to know why? First of all, it's in the word systemic, meaning it's a system. It's not something that can personally, that you personally go through. It's on a broad scale. So when people say, I've encountered white people that have called me the N word, or we've been places where they say there's no black people allowed, that's racial prejudice. Many black people have experienced that. But systemic racism is based on the institutions, it's based on government. So a prime example of systemic racism is what just happened a few years ago with Navy Federal Credit Union, where it was found out that they were approving 75%, I can't remember the percentage, but they found out that Black and Latino applicants who were who were far more eligible to get the loans, they were not giving them the loans to the tune of 75%, whereas they was giving these loans to white applicants. Now, these black and brown applicants were overqualified to get the loan, was not getting it. But in order to find that out, they had to do an internal investigation, like somebody had to investigate. See, that's how you find out systemic racism. Someone has to investigate because it's built into the institutions. Systemic racism is redlining, not being able to get home loans, not being able to move into certain places, employment opportunities. That's systemic racism. So when somebody asks you about systemic racism, like when have you personally felt that it affected you? That's not systemic racism. So just answering the question, you're going to lose that argument just because you answered it. Because systemic racism is an institution, it's government style, it's big, it's not personal. So don't get that mixed up with racial prejudice and bigotry that a lot of black people have experienced, especially in the South. You personally have experienced that, but when it comes to something big like that, you can't pin it down like that. So just someone that would even ask that question, and in this case, he said, uh, systemic racism doesn't exist, which is a lie, which is, I don't know. Some people just, you got to wonder, what is their reasoning? Why would they even say something like that? Especially black people. Especially black people. Like, what? Systemic racism doesn't exist? Okay. I can give you plenty of examples. I think I just said some. Now, when somebody says, how has, when have you uh, experienced systematic racism? That's a trick bag. You can't answer that. There is no actual answer. And sometimes, like when a person asks, they probably don't even know it's a trick bag. And you definitely don't know it's a trick bag if you're going to answer it. Your answer should be, first of all, systemic racism is large scale, it's broad, it's governmental, it's institutions, it's not personalized. Now, racial prejudice is personalized, racial hatred is personalized. Yes, a certain person can say something about me, and yeah, it can be racist. But as far as, me not getting a job because of racism, I don't know. I know, but I do know that systemic racism works. So behind systemic racism, somebody can tell me, "Oh, well, we're sorry, you're overqualified for the job. We're going to move on with this application." The whole time they're just not picking me because my name says that I'm a black person, or because when I came to interview, I was a black person. But I'll never know. I'll never know it because systemic racism is broad. But when somebody goes behind the scenes and crunches the numbers and they see, well, damn, 90% of the people they hire are white and the rest are black. There's a problem here. They're not trying to hire any black and brown people, or they're not trying to hire any black people. Somebody would have to do, some deep diving to see, oh yeah, they are racially discriminating against a certain group. Systemic racism, right? Let me see what the sister said. She said, it's ignorance, willfully ignorance, wanting to be loved and accepted by the wrong people. Exactly. And I think that you're replying to when I said, why would a black person even say systemic racism doesn't exist? Like, you have to be trying to, like you said, be accepted by some other people. You have to be. That and sometimes people be on the internet and they just say things for the buzz because they know it's going to make people upset. It's like what was the name back in the day, when Kanye West said slavery was a choice. Like, you got to think about, like, if I came on Black Authentic Truth and said, hey y'all, what I'm saying, slavery was a choice, man. Our ancestors chose to be in slavery. Like, something is wrong. But maybe I'm doing a play. Maybe what I'm doing is trying to work this internet stuff and say something that is going to get a buzz and get some controversy and get some eyes on me. I would never do nothing like that because I don't want a buzz if it's not organic and if it ain't black and authentic. And I'm saying what I really feel, and I'm not trying to play nobody by saying some outlandish thing that I should know better as a black man. I should know better that slavery wasn't a choice. I should know better that, systematic racism is real. I should know better. You know what I mean? So a lot of times these people, they get online and to develop a following, they say a lot of way out stuff that they know will make black people angry and some black people happy. And of course, this is going to make white folks is sitting in the back like, that's an exceptional black man. Amazing. More black people need to think like that. You see, they all have a victim mentality, but this guy right here, he gets it. That's how it is. That's the play. That's the play. Uh, Sister said the fact that we needed DEI for companies proves that there is systematic racism. Right. the fact that we, they, like I said this in a video I did, and it was about a year ago. I said they had to make laws against their own nature in order to treat Black and brown communities equal. Think about that. Like what the sister said is so true. It's like if it didn't exist, you know, why did they create DEI programs, affirmative action, and all these different diversity programs if it didn't exist? But they had to make laws in order to be fair. They made laws against their best interests in order to give Black people and other minority groups a fair shot in the working place, a fair shot in education. Excuse me. That says it all right there. And the funny thing is now they'll say, now, because they changed the definition of racism now. So now if I just say, you know what, I love Black women, I want to marry a Black woman, I want to have Black kids, they'll say that's racist. They have given racism a new definition to say, like, you know, to take the light off of what it really meant and who it really involved, which was Black people uh, and white folks. Now, a Black person can be called racist for saying, I just want to be around Black folks when I go out. They say that's racist. Why you don't want to be around everyone? What's wrong? Why you don't want to be around white folks? They've made it that way. You know what I mean? They've made it that way. They've made it um, to whereas everybody can call anybody racist, but we know that the original definition of racism was the inherent superiority of one race over another and having the power to actually affect the lives of said people. So as far as like real racism, Black people don't really have that real racism where you could actually say you can deny somebody an opportunity or a loan to actually move somewhere that's going to change their life, or a business loan that's going to change their life. We don't sit in that seat of power. Okay. But now they're saying, like, okay, DEI, they're saying what is it, affirmative action was racist because it excluded white folks. Now they're using that and saying that they done reversed it, reverse psychology. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I said all I want to say. So when it comes to that, just remember, when people start talking about systematic racism, it does exist. And if they ever ask you, how has systematic racism affected you personally, just know that that's a trick bag. That's a trick question. And the answer is, it hasn't. It's a system. But on a personal level, and this is for any brother or sister that has experienced it, I have experienced racial prejudice and hate. I have been called the N word, or I have been treated like this simply because I'm Black by a particular person. So just remember that. That's how you answer that, right? It's an institution, right? Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me. I appreciate. Let me just give y'all some shout outs real quick. Appreciate Quadash, Kanawa, Kawamas, Yola. Shout out to you. And I don't want to miss the brother. He was up in here too. Appreciate you too. Chris, shout out to you too, brother, man. Listen, man, it's Sunday evening. I know it's late for some people, man. I hope y'all have a good Monday tomorrow. Start your week off, uh, going back to work or school or whatever it is. Um, yeah, I'll be back. Probably be back Wednesday. Thank y'all for watching. This is Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth, and I'll see y'all later. Peace. Love y'all.